All I ever wanted was to see you smiling. I know that I love you, oh baby, why don't you see?
Hello, my name is Eryn. Before we get started on the sheep dissection, let's go over a few safety precautions. First, always wear your safety goggles. Second, you should always wear gloves. Next, when using the scalpel, always cut away from yourself.
And the chopsticks. Just say it. Don't poke people in the ear.
And when using the chopsticks, do not poke other people. These chopsticks are for pointing and identifying different parts of the harvest. And don't forget to have...
All I ever wanted was to see you smiling. All I ever wanted was to make you mine. I know that I love you, oh baby, why don't you see that all I ever wanted was you and me. All I ever wanted was to see you smiling. All I ever wanted was to make you mine. I know that I love you, oh baby.
This right here is the tricuspid valve. This is the bicuspid valve. There we go. This is the right atrium. This is the left atrium. This is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle. Right, left ventricle. Right.
Right here is the vena cava, and it carries deoxygenated blood from the body to the right atrium. This is the aorta, as well as this one, and it carries oxygenated blood to the body. One goes to the head and one goes to the rest of your body. Right here is the pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. And right here is the pulmonary veins, which takes oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. So this is the right atrium, and it receives deoxygenated blood, and it carries it into the right ventricle, and the right ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs. And this is the right ventricle on the other side. And then the left atrium, which is right here, receives oxygenated blood, and it takes it to the left ventricle, which is on this side and this side, and it pumps oxygenated blood to the body. So first, deoxygenated blood goes through the vena cava into the right atrium, then through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. Then it gets pumped to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. The blood becomes oxygenated in the lungs and then comes into the left atrium through the pulmonary vein right here. Once it's in the left atrium, it goes through the bicuspid valve into the left ventricle and then gets pumped through the aorta to the rest of the body. The cardiovascular system carries 5 substances through the body. They carry nutrients from digested food, oxygen from the lungs, metabolic waste like carbon dioxide, hormones like adrenaline, and heat to maintain homeostasis. There are 3 types of blood vessels. Arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. They have thick muscular walls, are involuntary smooth muscles, and control blood flow. Capillaries are small blood vessels where materials are traded between the blood and the body's cells. Veins carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart and have much thinner walls than arteries. So here we have the anatomy of a heart. And you can see that on the outside of the left ventricle, it's a really thick wall, and on the outside of the right, it's not as thick. That's because the left ventricle pumps the blood through the aorta. And the aorta is so big because it pumps through pumps blood through your entire body, so it needs a lot of muscle and stuff. And the septum here is pretty big because it's keeping the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood separate, and it's in between the two chambers. A four-chambered heart has 2 atria, 2 ventricles, and has a double circulation. Oxygenated and deoxygenated blood do not mix in a four-chambered heart. And animals with a four-chambered heart live longer than those with a 2 or 3-chambered heart. A 2-chambered heart has 1 atrium and 1 ventricle and has a single circulation, and a 3-chambered heart has 2 atria, 1 ventricle, and a double circulation. 3-chambered heart has 2 atria, 1 ventricle, and a double circulation, but the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood.
Why don't you see that all I ever wanted was you and me? I'm so alone, here on my own, and I'm waiting for you to come. I want to be a part of you, think of all the things we could do.